pull it together.
Good evening. What?
Good evening.
I don't know why I went into my
Dracula.
I almost said it again, but hello, everyone. Welcome. I am here with my good friend Joe Serio of the 360 Dispatcher, and we are currently live in Bandera, Texas. We are sitting in the, what would you call this area?
The Roundup Room.
It's
called the Roundup Room.
Yeah. Now I know the actual name. So we're in the Roundup Room of this building that holds the dining area and the saloon here at the Mayan Ranch. And we're out here for the March 2026 911 Leadership Training event that's held here, but hosted by the 360 Dispatcher.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. And today was the first official day one. Monday, everyone is coming in. It's meet and greet day, right?
Meet and greet on Monday night. We get everyone together.
Mhm.
We force them to talk to each other. So here's the thing. When people arrive, nobody knows each other. If they're here with colleagues, like always, they hang out together. They cluster by themselves.
Mhm.
So we do some talking, talk about what the week is going to be like, and then pair them off.
That's right.
And we pair them off, get them to talk to each other. Then we pair them off again, and we rotate them again. And when they're sick of that, we rotate them again. And they kind of moan and groan that, oh, not again. But by the time, and obviously we do this for a very specific reason.
Right.
By the time they're finished, they have a high comfort level, because once we hit Tuesday morning, we're ready to go. And so they're already talking to each other.
Yeah, and it's always funny to see certain folks when you say, and at the risk of pissing you guys off, do it one more time. And you see some folks are like, oh, okay. And then they go, but the conversation continues and it builds. I'm glad that you do it that way now as well, because I think that was just through the times that I've been here, the meet and greet part would be Tuesday morning.
Mhm.
And it would take up a lot of time getting into it and then a break. And you started doing it on Monday right before dinner, and it was like, that's exactly how to do it. And also with that, you end up having cards.
Mhm.
And you have they're like some of the zaniest questions just to see what people's responses are. And I think that's one of the things that I love the most as well.
Yeah, after they meet with each other, they're usually standing up. We sit them all down at a table, and we give them a card. And the card could be, if you could be a giraffe, an elephant, or a zebra, which one would you want to be, and why?
Yeah,
why?
why?
And all kinds of cards like that. And the point, obviously, nobody cares about the questions.
Mhm.
It's let's just start talking.
Right.
Let's break the ice, because then come Tuesday morning, we arrange the seating. And so they're not huddled up with their own colleagues, right?
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
we always go to our colleagues for protection. No,
Mhm.
it's safe. I can just hang out with you the whole week.
Exactly.
It's like, no, you don't get back with your colleagues until Friday.
Mhm.
And so Tuesday morning, they're sitting with new people. And then Wednesday morning, we switch all the seats, and they're sitting with new people. And for Thursday morning, new seats. They don't get back to their colleagues until Friday.
Yeah, until Friday.
And then we have conversation and discussion. But that's the whole idea of Monday night.
Yes.
Let's break the ice. Let's get people relaxed. Let's get people talking. Let's get people swearing. Let's get, whatever
Yeah.
they're comfortable with. And I don't care what it is. I want them comfortable, because once we hit Tuesday, the content on Tuesday gets pretty heavy.
Right.
We need people connected with each other.
Exactly. And I think, first off, Roxy, hello. What's going on? We need to get you over here as well.
She wants to be an elephant. So she
Elephant. Oh,
whap people
so
with
you
a joke.
That's a good reason. I like that. And one of the other things I like too is when there's someone here who's by themselves. You'll see some folks will be like, "Come and join us," and they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, come and join us." And then everything starts building. And if you can't hear it already, it's Tuesday. On Tuesday night, the most amazing person, Bryn, will be in the saloon, and they are doing. Is it iPhone karaoke, right?
Yeah.
So they've got like a microphone and stuff, and everyone is in there right now, and they are going to town with some music. So
They've known each other for one day,
yes,
and they're all in there. There's more than half the classes in there, which is
Mhm.
incredible. And they're so enthusiastic, and they've jumped up from the get-go and started singing. It's like this is one of those groups, when we have that feeling,
Yes.
we know from the beginning, and they're rocking already. It's so great.
Yeah, I love that as well, because there have been a couple times, not a lot, just a few, where it's a little harder to break the ice. But as you get more into the material and people are connecting, that's when they start opening up as well. And but with this group and a few others that started off right off the bat, it's always good. There's always a good thing that comes out of it, but also you always tell people you're going to get out of this what you put in. If you came to play, you're going to get something out of this, and it's going to stay with you. If you're just coming to just chill at the ranch, then that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, everyone is putting something in because they're here for a reason, and it's to really kind of learn about themselves as well.
For sure. So I've had people come up to me today already
Mm-hmm.
and said, that was the most incredible day. You got me thinking about so much. You shared your story with us so that we would think about our own stories. Somebody came up to me today and said, I've had the same experience you've had about growing up, about my relationship to my parents, about things that I experienced, some kind of trauma, whatever. And we talk about it because we're carrying that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we've really worked through it and reconfigured it, we're carrying it into work.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that we feel about ourselves get communicated to the world around us. And if we haven't stopped to figure out some of these things, then we're likely to make mistakes, right? We're likely to react instead of respond.
Right.
And we think we're reacting to the person in front of us at work. But what we're really reacting to is the memories that we have, the experiences that we had growing up, and that person we're dealing with triggered us in some way. And we think it's, Ricardo's such a pain in the ass. It's like, yeah, but oh, we don't go there right now.
Right.
But the thing is,
that happens on Thursday.
the thing is that it's not really Ricardo. It's that Ricardo hit that unhealed spot in me.
Mm-hmm.
He triggered that piece that I had since I was 4, 5, 6 years old. And that's what we want on the first day, to get people thinking about that in conjunction with what it means to be a leader and how to show up at your comm center.
Yeah. And so one of the interesting things that happened today was at breakfast, I was sitting with someone, a group, and we were talking about all these different things. And I said, what are some of the things that you guys are looking forward to getting out of this week? And the person sitting next to me says, well, I'm always the one to say yes. And I'm starting to finally say no and set some of these boundaries, but it's always been really hard for me. So when we're in the conference room and you're talking and you mentioned that part about boundaries, I smiled and I just happened to turn to the right. And the person who was sitting with me at breakfast, she happened to turn to the left. We didn't realize we were there. And I looked at her and she goes, like, she makes a face and I went, I was like, it's exactly what we were talking about. So then at lunch, I said, I didn't know you were sitting there, but when we locked eyes, she goes, yep, we knew it. I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's moments like that where you end up connecting all of these different things and you hear something from someone else, and that's my life too. And I think what a lot of these folks do, and I'm sure you notice it in the stuff when you're teaching, and I know I notice it in stuff that I'm teaching, that people finally get to that point where they realize, yeah, I'm not alone. There are more people out here dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, and lately I started saying, over the past 6 months or year, it's like, look, there are 8 billion people on the planet. I know it feels like you're alone, right? We're running these things through our heads.
Mm-hmm.
We're focused on our fear. We're focused on our experiences from the past. But the fact of the matter is, there are millions and millions of people that have had similar experiences, that feel the way we do. You're never alone. And so we reach out to the people around us. We talk, we open up, we communicate, and we find out, oh, you do understand me. Oh, I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to be alone. And I don't have to try to do this all by myself.
And you see that in the attendees as they start to connect and get closer. And just like they are in the saloon right now, clapping for each other, cheering for each other, just straight up supporting each other. I mean, that's what all of this is about.
Yeah.
and it's powerful. It's not just the good food. The bacon is amazing. I always tell you guys the coffee is really good too. But I mean, just the people alone. It's just we're all coming together and figuring it out. We're getting out of our own way.
Yeah, look, the things in our heads are driven by fear. We hang on to fear, and we focus on those things that freak us out. We focus on it so much that we created monsters in our own minds, and they don't exist in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They exist in our heads. And it doesn't mean that we haven't suffered. It doesn't mean that we haven't had trauma, but we keep focusing. Talk to psychologists. They said the trauma took place in a very short period, a minute and a half, 90 seconds, 2 minutes. And the actual trauma part is the reliving of it. And we just keep beating it over and over in our minds. And this happened to me, and this happened to me. And we start identifying as being that experience. We're not those experiences. We're not that fear. That's not who we are. Unfortunately, you have a room full of people who show up who haven't figured out how to talk to each other, haven't figured out how to be gentle with each other, haven't figured out grace and compassion, and then they have to work with each other 8, 10, 12 hours. How do you do that and snipe at each other and have that room just filled with all kinds of fear that come out in criticism and backstabbing and blaming and, mean girls or whatever you want to call it? It's like, yeah, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It's why it's one of the major reasons the industry is in the shape it's in, because we haven't figured out leadership, on a wide scale basis. We haven't figured out culture change or culture development, and we haven't figured out how to nurture and guide people to actually talk to each other in a way that we can actually hear each other.
And what's crazy is that we have so much stuff in common, yet we can't communicate. We're learning, right? Conversations like this matter a lot. The stuff that we do out here in the ranch matter a lot, and that is what we're doing. Bryn, what is up? But that's the thing. Like we have all of these things in common. We're going through the same things, but for whatever reason, we don't always talk to each other, and that sucks. And maybe it's because that fear is there as well. I've lived through that too. And another moment, as you talk about fear and how fear holds us back and everything, I didn't start fully teaching full on until I drove to the ranch from Indiana the very first time. And it was a moment of reflection for myself. And Joe and I have a conversation because I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I'm always doing something. And Joe says to me, "Why don't you teach?" And I said, "Teach?" I said, I'm not built for that, dude. I'm like, you and other people that I know, you do 8-hour classes and you do, multiple ones in a week, sometimes throughout the month. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I'm built for it. And I said, well, what do I have that for 8 hours that would work? And I remembered it was like you were hitting me in the back of my head, like, wake up, fool. Because Joe says to me, how long have you been doing sessions at conferences? And I said, a decade now. And he's just staring at me. And I thought, damn it. Like, this is the moment. Like, it was just that where I hadn't really thought about the fact that I've been teaching all these years, because he's like, aren't those our classes? I'm like, yes, they are our classes. And he goes, you have it all there. You just need to put it together. I was like, okay, you're right. Yeah, I do. But that's what it took. It took conversation, being open-minded, and then realizing from someone on the outside looking in, because a lot of times when we're like we were saying, we're in our own way and we can't see it. And when somebody else sees it and you allow it, you bring it in, then it clicks. And that's what happened to me. And I put all of those classes that I did together and flipped it in a way that it made sense for an 8-hour communications course. And I've been doing it for over 2 years now. So thank you, dude.
You're welcome, dude. Dude, mind if I call you dude?
Of
Thank
course.
you, dude. Okay,
Yes,
dude.
yeah.
But and here's the thing about you is it would be a crime if you never did it, because here at the ranch you have basically a 2-hour block, and it's Imagine Listening. And if anyone's seen Imagine Listening, you know what this is like, how powerful his session is, and it never fails. It never fails to move people. It never fails to create emotion and feeling, which is what people react to. People do not react to facts. People react to emotion. They react to story. And when Ricardo comes with his story and tells his experience and then allows people to tell their experience, and we get into heavy emotional mood, and then he lightens it up with funny emotional mood, it's the perfect combination and leaves people feeling good after they've just been through a roller coaster
Roller
of
coaster
emotion.
of emotion. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
We made sure we had 12 boxes of tissues with us this time.
Yes.
And just make sure that every table's got tissues, because
Mhm.
people are already crying today.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, when they go through your session, they will be highly emotional, and it's normal and natural. And you do it so well, and the field would be less for it if you didn't contribute that piece of your story and your voice to this group.
Well, I appreciate that in your words more than you know, and I love the way we do it now as well, because I would close on a Friday, and we would have discussion afterwards and stuff, and then there's lunch, and then people fly out, and we're like, we need to do it in a way that people can decompress a little more.
Yeah.
So now it's on Thursday, because then afterwards people have some time at the end to either meet with each other or just kind of decompress. Some people go on a walk, and then there's talk in the pavilion, there's like snacks and stuff, people are talking, and then you have dinner, and then even more decompression when we're in the saloon and people are doing karaoke like they're doing right now. And it's like the perfect wrap up of it, because then the next day is cowboy breakfast, which is one of the things that you guys have to experience, and then it's discussion, and we go through and talk about how the week has been. And if you've never been here, it's just like, I'm going to say this, it's going to sound weird, but there's only one aspect is what I mean. Like a vacation. When you go on a vacation and like the first couple days, you're like, oh, I got all of this time. But when you get to Wednesday, even Tuesday night, like tonight, it goes fast. Before you know it, it's already Friday and it's done. And everyone is hugging and saying goodbye. Some people are shedding tears. It's like it ends up moving really fast.
Yeah. And that Thursday morning for me is the worst, because we're through Tuesday, we're through Wednesday. It's the last full day. And when you have a group like this, like we have now,
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, number one, these guys are fun. Number two, they're contributing.
Right.
They're talking in class right out of the gate. First thing this morning, they're already talking. They're already sharing. And then Friday comes, and we've been through Ricardo's session on Thursday afternoon. Friday morning, after Cowboy Breakfast, anyone in the audience, any of the participants are invited to raise a problem or question they have and open it up to the entire room.
Yep.
And so they can get feedback from people from all over the country and opinions and experience about how we handle this question you have, how we handle this problem that you've raised. And it's valuable feedback, and it's a better way to wind down the week than, like you said, just having that crazy emotional punch.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Now you're on a plane.
Now go home. Yeah, no, exactly. So that was a great change too, and it's a
Yeah.
great way to kind of trail it off and make it a more natural.
Yeah, one of those discussions on a Friday morning. There was an officer who was going to be taking over the center as the director, and he wanted to come so that he could not just experience the leadership training event, but also be there with a bunch of 911 professionals and also ask questions and learn. And the dude was very brave. Well, he was also like 7'10" or something. He wasn't that tall, but he was really tall.
Really tall.
He was a tall dude. But he just kind of sat there and said, basically, let me have it. What do I need to know? And everyone let him have it professionally, right? But that's one of those things that makes that part of it as well powerful, because everyone is just talking and getting it out, and it's always a good time.
I love that recently we've had sworn who are overseeing dispatch and don't know much about dispatch come to the program with their director or their manager.
Yeah.
They said, well, we want to know more about dispatch. We don't know that much. I need to. Chad was a great cornhole teammate. No, and
What's up, Matt?
Chad was an awesome dude. And Matt, let's get interrupted for a second.
Yes.
Matt attended program last year. He's one of those people that took what we talked about and ran with it. And I really appreciate Matt keeping me up to date on his progress. He's been doing amazing things with his health, with his weight, with his head, with his mind, with his habits. So congratulations to you, Matt. One thing that we always say in the program is like, look, this is like any other training. The important part isn't the training. The important part is what happens when you leave. Because you can nod your head and you can agree and you can get inspired that day. But if you leave and do nothing, then it wasn't really, really worth anything.
Right.
When you think of it like that. But Matt has grabbed the bull by the horns and is just, I love hearing from him. He drops me an update text once in a while. It's like, man, this guy's doing it. And it's the best for us to see people changing their lives after being together for a couple of days. And then they say, hey, I lost 20 pounds. I've got somebody who's down 115 pounds. I've got somebody who got off medications. I got somebody who got divorced out of a bad marriage. I've got, all these things. And it's like, man, and here's the whole thing about it. We didn't do that. What we do is throw out, the way I explain it is that we throw out on the floor what we know or what we can contribute. And then it's up to the audience to decide whether to pick it up or not. And people like Matt picked it up, ran with it, and they saw that all this stuff works. And if you think about it and apply it to the parts of your life where you need it and get disciplined or systematic about it, then it'll work. It works. If you work it, plan the work the plan. And if you work it, it happens. That's the thing I love the most about. I don't even know what we were talking about before Matt just rudely interrupted us.
How dare you, Matt?
but that's the magic of this.
Yeah.
It's the magic in our lives when we hear people talk about what they've done. And it's the magic in the lives of the participants who go out and change their relationship with their spouses, change their relationship with their kids, and they get brave to be more vulnerable and say, look, man, maybe I was the one. Maybe I didn't show up the way I should have. Maybe I need to change the way I talk or the way I interact with people around me. And then within fairly short order, it's like, oh, man, things are changing. And people around me are changing. It's like, no, it's not because there's people around you changing. It's because you did it. And you gave them a signal that it's now safer to be with you because you're not going to chop their head off or bite their head off, right? You're not going to freak out or have a, temper tantrum or what. You work through issues. You work through issues at home and at work, and things change, period.
I think the other thing that you do for folks, and it's why I made a clip of it, and it was part of Joe's keynote for one of the Dare to Be Greats that I did, and it's just called "What Are You Waiting For?" And I think that's a big part of. I know you asked the question during the ranch, but it's like the question is there lingering throughout the entire week because people are trying to get out of their own way, or they at least realize, holy crap, I've been the one holding me back because of fear or because of what other people might say or any of those things. So that question it goes out throughout the whole time. And then when you hear about people that are making that change, it's like, I stopped waiting. Because in this profession, especially, you realize how short life is. And if you don't do something now to move forward, you're going to see somebody else who is doing what you wanted to do. You don't want to be that person. You don't want regret is the thing.
Yeah. You wake up at 40, 45, you say, man, I could have done that. But I was hanging on to that story in my head. I was hanging on to my fear. I couldn't pull the trigger. And now I'm at 40, 45 beating myself up for it. It's like, no, stop. What's past is past. You actually cannot get it back.
Mhm.
Period. End of story. It's like the popular cliche about, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's
Yeah.
the second best time to plant a tree? Today. That's the deal. You didn't plant the tree 20 years ago. Okay, great. Why do we keep punishing ourselves for what we didn't do 20 years ago? And we just spent the last 5 years punishing ourselves for what we didn't do 20 years ago. Now you're down another 5 years. It's like, no, stop. Take inventory, figure out who you've got around you, right? Are they support? Great, hang on to them. Are they, cutting you down at every step? It might be time to get rid of them. It may be time to distance yourself from people who aren't,
Mhm.
right, feeding you, who aren't nurturing you. And then the other part is, you know what? You got to grow a set. I'm sorry. It's just like there's no
Yeah.
way around it. There's just no way around it.
Buck up.
You got to jump in the pool, and the water is cold now, and the water is going to be cold 6 months from now. So just jump in.
Everything you said just now makes me think of, which is going to sound like a weird reference, but you may or may not know I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, like original Twilight Zone, Rod Serling, rest in peace, man. Holy crap, just an amazing show. But there is an episode where there's this guy who is, he is in the hustle and bustle of New York. He's in like marketing and stuff, and he's just working and working and working, basically a machine. And he pulls up to this gas station and he sees a sign to the town that he grew up in. And he leaves his car to get worked on and stuff, and he goes and walks into town. And when he gets there, everything is the way he remembered it as a kid. And it's like he stepped into this warp where he's visiting all of these spots. He sees himself as a kid and then teenager and all of this other stuff, and even sees his parents. And there's a conversation that he has with his dad where his dad ends up telling him, it looks like you're looking for something, but you're afraid of not moving forward and you're stuck. This time was for this little boy, which is like him, like this is his time. You need to go back to your time and move forward and continue on. And I remember I watched that episode and I thought, holy crap, like it's so deep, like there's so much into it. And then when he decides to leave, everything is like during regular time.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes back and he leaves. And I don't remember the quote that's at the end that Rod Serling says, but it makes a lot of sense that sometimes we want to live, just like you were saying, in that past.
Mm-hmm.
But what's past is already past, and you have to continue moving forward and let go of some of those things and basically just give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm. I heard something once upon a time, a long time ago, and I was thinking about this. I want to be Eric Clapton. And somebody said, that job is already taken.
Mm.
There's somebody already who is Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And there's only one of those. So you have to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty hard. But it's the only job we have.
Right.
I can't be somebody else. I've had the experience that I've had, right? All of us. We've had the experience we had, for better, for worse. We came from where we came from. And now, what is it that I want to do and be in my life? Can I get clear? Can I push aside some of the distractions, the non-essential? Somebody said once, identify the essential, avoid all the rest. Identify the essential. What's the essential that you need in your life? And one thing I think I mentioned in class today, in my life, I play music, I speak, I write books, I travel, and I hang out with friends. And those are the only 5 things I do. They're the only 5 things I ever do, because they're the only 5 things I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I hang around with good friends, I hang around with people, and I get to play music in the saloon on Thursday night. I get to travel, and I get to influence and impact people. For me, that's the way I want to spend my life.
Hell yeah.
And everybody has to decide for themselves. That's my life. It's not yours. You go decide what you want your life to look like. And you know what? Number one, it's going to be hard because there's going to be all that fear and that story in your head. And number two, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Like that thing you posted today. The road to success and excellence goes directly through mistakes and failure. You're going to fall down.
Mhm.
And if we can figure out, understand that that's part of the game, it becomes so much easier. It's like, oh, I just made a mistake. Oh, okay. What did I learn from it? What should I do differently next time? Okay, let's go. When we put you on the last day, we said, oh, Ricardo's on the last, maybe he shouldn't be on the last day. We did not discontinue ranches at that point,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
A little bit more maybe direct example. When you see, because we're into music, we're talking about music all the time.
Yeah.
When you see somebody make a mistake on stage, they don't stop.
Mm-mm. Nope.
They don't stop. They just keep going. And they get back to fundamentals, and then they work themselves back into the song. It's like, yeah, that's what life is like. You make a mistake, you don't stop. You just keep working your way through it.
You mentioned in that clip about, hope that, a lot of parents should teach their kids this. And I tell my kids this all the time, that mistakes, there's things that are going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. Like when they were learning piano, they're like, I don't know if I'm going to ever be able to do this. I'm like, yeah, you will. You just continue to practice. And if you ever mess up, you just keep going, because someone else is going to end up continuing. And where you want to be, you're never going to get there if you don't keep practicing it. And I tell them, I wasn't the greatest speaker, man, when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, I still mess up sometimes. And when I do, I laugh it off, I crack a joke, and I jump right back into it, because that shows people that I'm human. I'm not a robot. I'm not just like doing this. And that's how we connect with each other. So I try to instill that on them, that everything is going to be okay. You're not the only one who's also making mistakes. Other people are making mistakes. Not everyone started out awesome professional and everything.
Yeah.
You got to work at it.
It's the quote that Christy's talking about, right? I never lose.
Mm-hmm.
I win or I learn.
Exactly.
And if you can actually, operationalize that, everything changes. Your eyes change, right? The way you look at yourself, the way you look at quote unquote failure and mistakes, the way you look at success changes. This is what life is, I think. So I get to say things like this. I'm over 60 years old. Kids, listen up. This is what life is like. But it's small steps repeated consistently over a long period of time.
Yeah.
That's how they learn how to play the piano. That's how you learn to be a better speaker. That's how all these books I've written get written. They get written one step at a time, one word at a time on a regular basis. Everything works like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the compound interest idea. There's compound interest around money, compound interest around skill building, compound interest around relationship building. And it all works like that. And part of us just needs to just relax and calm down and kind of like move into our lives instead of, kind of forcing all the pieces or
Mm-hmm.
racing so fast forward. I want everything now and I want it at once. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
You can have everything you want, but you can't have it right now.
Because what are you going to learn? It's just like the same thing with my kids. I've told them, like, you've got UFC fighters, you've got boxers, anything like that, those types of sports where you have someone who is undefeated and they retire undefeated. And they've said, doesn't that make them like amazing? Like they're the GOAT, they're the greatest of all time. I was like, some look at it that way. I look at some of those folks as they were a champion and undefeated for so long, and then they meet some monster after they've become complacent and they get rocked. And then it depends on how they come back after that. And you see fighters who end up never doing it again, but then you see others who overcome. They start back at the bottom, they come back up, and they become champion again. And those are the folks that I love to see.
Yeah, and I, totally off the subject. I just want to say hello to Crystal. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Hello, Crystal. Good to see you. Yeah, that's the deal, man. It's just, it's such a cliche, but it's you fall down, you get up. You fall down, you get up. You fall down, you get up. And some people fall down, they don't get back up.
That's true.
And you just got to keep getting up. I love stories. I love inspirational stories of people that just went through all kinds of stuff
Mm-hmm.
and they never gave up.
Exactly.
And this idea of you have no idea how close you are. If you stop, what if you were only 2 steps away from what you were looking for?
Right.
And I stopped at this moment, just getting overwhelmed in my head. It's like, wait, the thing you were looking for is just right around the corner. It's such a heartbreak when you stop just a little too early, and you could have had, and you could have been, and you could have.
And that moment will eat you alive. And those are the moments that we're talking about that also you don't want. Now, as we're going into the wrap up of this, which this has been an awesome conversation. This has been really good.
I went places we were.
I know. Yeah, we're like, we're just gonna come on and talk. We're just gonna riff or whatever. And I mean, we have, but it's been really good. Now we're here for this week for the 901 leadership training event. But in just a couple of weeks, March was the 23rd through the 27th, is the Mental Health Ranch. And there's still seats available. So I would love for you, for the audience, to talk a little bit about that and where they can go to find more.
Yeah, the Mental Health Ranch, we started in December, and I wanted to, looking around the industry, obviously mental health is one of the issues, but it's only in recent years that it's really started to be talked about and developing programs and everything. And with the ranch, availability and all that, and having a track record here, I wanted to do a mental health ranch that included therapists that work with dispatch as part of their practice. And so in December, we had 3 therapists that came out, and they ran the program for the week. And we had a lot of really interesting transformational moments and almost kind of therapy sessions in a way where we wanted people to learn more about themselves. We wanted some people to work through some of their trauma and to get effective tools and techniques to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So we're doing it again in March 23rd to 27th. We have therapists coming in, same setup, and we're just looking forward to another awesome transformational evening, transformational week. I'm thinking about the evening.
It's all in one evening.
The saloon is breaking. The saloon is getting out now, and I'm thinking about the evening they just had.
Yeah.
But no, just an emotional and life-changing week with professionals who know how to guide us through some of the trauma that we experience. I think it's really important for dispatchers to hear other dispatchers' stories of their trauma, not just from the console, but growing up. That they've been through things and that they're coming out the other side. And you as a dispatcher are not alone.
That entire week was very powerful. And a good friend of ours, Dr. Michelle Lilly, she was out here and was doing some sessions as well. And we just had a really good time. There was a lot of emotions going. I did some filming with some folks, which you will see some of that coming here soon. We're still filming a lot more stuff, but I did a mini session which was only going to be like 10 minutes long, and it ended up being, I think, about 30 or so minutes long. And that also involved Dr. Michelle Lilly and one of the other folks who was here as well, who's awesome. And I was sitting there with them, and as they were talking, the both of them started, and you haven't seen this yet, actually, but they both kind of broke down from the week, like everything that was going on. So as they're talking with each other on camera and they're emotional, I'm sitting on the other side, covering my mouth because I'm kind of losing it myself, and I'm like, I have to ask these questions. But it was so powerful, and all of you who are watching and listening, you would get a lot out of it, because the amount of things that we go through and the stuff that we're talking about and the time that we spend together, it was just a very eye-opening and powerful week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to being back at the end of the month. You can't beat the setting. You can't beat the people who run and own the ranch. The hospitality is off the chain. If you've been here, Christy Munden knows, other people know that they just roll it out. So much food, so much good food, so many great activities, so much fun. And in between, we do a lot of serious work.
Yeah. So where can people find out more about not just the mental health ranch, but any of the other ranches or speaking that you do, the classes? I mean, you've got all these different programs and stuff. So where can people go to find more?
Yeah, joeserio.com, joeserio.com. We have the ranch programs. We did 6 programs last year here at the ranch. This year we're scheduled for 5 or 6. We've got the 911 leadership training event ranches. We've got the 911 mental health workshop ranches. Also, we started last year training tours. So we're traveling around the country. We wanted to bring training to you at discounted prices so it'd be more affordable and we could get out and see the country. So we're scheduling more of those. We are going to be in Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, and Utah in August. We're going to be on the East Coast later in the year. We're going to Virginia in April. We might tack on a little bit of Maryland in that trip. So we're scheduling these training tours. Super excited about those. We've got new books coming out. We've got Dispatch Culture, 50 Lessons on Inspiring Excellence is coming out this year. We've got Dispatch Trainer, 50 Lessons on Being a Great Teacher is coming out this year. And it's just a lot going on. So joeserio.com is the place to find out about all that.
And when he says we, he's talking Joe and the 360 Dispatcher, not we. Just in case.
Yeah. No, we have our own stuff going on.
Yeah, we have our own stuff that we're doing, but also we do our stuff here at the ranch and everything. So It has been awesome, dude, to have you on. Again, for those watching, joeserio.com. Follow on social media as well. You're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
All the good stuff. So make sure to check those out. I put that clip out there as well. So check it out, share it. Joe sharing some awesome words of wisdom for the official first day. And today is the 3rd of March. Mom, if you're watching, I'm going to text you after this and call you actually. But happy birthday, Mom. I love you. Mwah. I will say this really quick. Yesterday when I was driving over here to make it to the meet and greet, I was talking to her on the phone. And she goes, you remember you were telling me that your buddy Joe said that, like if I wanted to come, I might be able to. And I said, yeah. And she goes, my birthday's tomorrow, right? And I said, yeah, I do know your birthday's tomorrow. And she goes, why am I not in the car with you? I was like, I'm sorry.
Good job, Mom. Good job.
Yeah,
she got you, man.
She did get me. I was just sitting there and she's like, started busting up laughing. And I was like, you got me. She goes, yep. But anyway, love you, Mom. Happy birthday. And yeah, party on, Wayne. All right. Have a good night, everyone. joeserio.com. And we'll check you guys all out later. Peace.
See ya.